adequate sleep, but if you have you
Board of Commissions, 7th graders. Board of Commissions this evening. I didn't say.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting, the Jackson County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 16th, 2013 to order. At this time, I would like to ask County Commissioner Julie Alexander to please lead us in the invocation. All rise and assume a reverent position.
Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly thank you for our many blessings. We are blessed as individuals, as a community, and as a nation. As it is easy to overlook and take for granted the gifts you have bestowed on us, we take this moment to give you thanks and praise. We ask also for your presence in the hearts of those that are suffering and mourning in Massachusetts. We ask for your continued guidance and presence on those that serve, including those that protect us here and abroad. We ask it in your holy name. Amen.
At this time, I would like the members of the Jackson Autism Support Network to please come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen, very, very much. At this time, I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Leitner? Here. Commissioner Lechka? Here. Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Commissioner Duckham? Here. Commissioner Alexander?
Present.
Commissioner Mahoney? Commissioner Plachek?
Here.
Commissioner Elwell?
here.
Chairman Shotwell?
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda. I have a motion from Commissioner Duckham.
Support.
Support from Commissioner Plachek. Any items to be deleted, added, or corrected? Commissioner Duckham.
Yes, Mr. Chair, tonight I would like to add under new business the appointment of a commissioner to the GIS committee.
Any other items to come before the board? Any items to be added or corrected? We'll make that item 15B, assignment to the GIS committee. All in favor of the amended agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. We have no awards and recognition to come before the Board of Commissioners. Does anyone have any petitions or communications in writing or otherwise to be delivered to the Board of Commissioners at this time? Seeing none, we have no special orders or public hearings. We've arrived at the first opportunity for public comment. Public comment is an opportunity for you to address the board, but the board will not be answering any questions or responding to your questions. Please give those in writing to the Deputy Administrator before the end of the meeting. If you'd like to step forward, please identify yourself. This is the first time for public comment.
Hello, I'm Tommy Cameron, and I've been nominated to be the education representative on the Jackson County Planning Commission by the Affairs and Agencies Committee, by the Jackson County Superintendents Association, and by the board of the Jackson County Intermediate School District. As a former teacher and an administrator for the Jackson ISD, I believe I can bring a broad perspective, educational perspective, to the Planning Commission. At the Jackson County ISD, we service all students in Jackson County. We serve all 12 public school districts, as well as all the parochial schools and the charter schools. At the ISD, we also are involved in numerous programs from early childhood development all the way up to adult career education and GED prep. kind of wall to wall and top to bottom, if you will. I know there may be some concern over the fact that I live just over the county line, but I wanted to assure you all that I am invested in this community. I raised my family here. My daughters went to Jackson County schools. For the last 26 years, I've worked in Jackson, I play in Jackson, I shop in Jackson, I volunteer for numerous charity events and organizations. If appointed, I will look forward to serving my community and the board as best to my ability, and I thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening. My name is John Wilson, City of Jackson resident. I'm requesting this evening the full board consider my nomination for the newly created Jackson County Planning Commission. Born and raised in the City of Jackson, I'm familiar with the economic and social issues facing both the city and county. If appointed to the county's Planning Commission, I can assure that my input for any decisions made by the Planning Commission will be input that was researched and studied carefully, and always keeping in mind other person's input and their point of view. I have much experience with both the political and citizen involvement process of local government. My experience with the political process in Jackson County has been my 2 attempts for County Commission and 1 attempt for City Council. None has resulted in a general election victory. My citizen involvement has been on numerous occasions speaking in front of both the County Commission and City Council during public comment on issues that there has been both agreement and disagreement on. Always keeping in mind, though, my respect for our democratic form of government and my due respect for our elected and appointed officials. Looking at the other candidates' resumes, I cannot say that I'm a better candidate than any of them. What I can say, though, whether appointed or not to this commission, I will continue to work hard and stay involved one way or another to bring Jackson to its fullest potential. Thank you for your consideration.
My name is Tony McNeil. I am a Deputy Sheriff for the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. I am also the President of the local POAM. I'd like to draw your attention to something that is on the proposed agenda. It appears to be an attempt to make a change or addition to the pension bylaws. It would be on page 7. I don't know if that document is in front of you or not. It's listed as subsection 27, but it would actually be section 27. Subsection G, however, there is already a G, so it actually appears to be an attempt to replace that. I would caution you before you take action on voting on putting this into the pension bylaws that it is contrary to the language in our contract, as well as the Command Officers Association, which would be the Road Patrol Sergeants, the other Command Officer Association, which is the Jail Sergeants, and the Fraternal Order Police, which is the Jail Deputies. We do find it slightly surprising and disheartening that you can take consideration to vote on this when all 4 units have open and active grievances on this very issue. Those grievances were filed by myself on behalf of the Police Officer Association of Michigan on January 30th of this year. We bargained in good faith on a contract that started January 1st. 2 of the units have the right to go to binding arbitration under Public Act 312, and we did not. Don't feel we're being selfish on this. We're not asking for any more. We're just asking for things to be left alone. We understand that it's the pension deduction for the 25 and out that has gone up almost 700%. The deductions from the other deputies' paychecks and sergeants' paychecks has already taken place. We've asked for that to stop until we could get an answer. That has not happened. We've already had 2 meetings, one with Ms. Dixon from Human Resources and the other with Mr. Overton. And despite they are trying, we still have not gotten any answers on how this took place. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Scott Augme. Some of you already know me, me and my big mouth here in Jackson County, but I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm actually living in Summit Township, and I'm going to be speaking more frequently in front of the County Commissioners Board. I'd like to be a little informal tonight. I don't want to introduce too much because I'm hoping down the road to talk to you about history, the history of communism and fascism globally, because it's important to understand goals that many individuals, many globalists, and even members of our own government have in terms of taking away our constitutional liberty. I am a born-again Christian. I am also a student of the U.S. Constitution. I have done my studies in the Michigan Constitution and the city charter of the city of Jackson. And I've spent extensive study in the deployment of communist fascist states globally. And again, down the road, I'm going to try to introduce a little history, some areas where we probably made some critical mistakes in defending freedom and various other things, including elements of the Civil War. I'm hoping to educate the Board of Commissioners, because certainly it would be a futile effort to try to educate the unthinking members of the Jackson City Council. I see John Plowchek is here. I got accused of being a perpetual candidate, and here we have Mr. Plowchek, who was tossed out of the City Council of Jackson and is a board of commissioner right now. All right, we can address it another time, but my point being, there is a rotation of a lot of people in position. Have I passed my time? Okay. Tell you what, let me cut short to a couple other things. As a former candidate, people know me, I ran for the mayor's office, City of Jackson, and I ran for Congress on the U.S. Taxpayers Party of Michigan. When I was a political candidate, I was able to basically develop relationships, what I call moles, inside the Jackson Police Department, the Michigan State Police, and a Midwest regional office of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. I did get information, and I don't want anything to happen to this because I know a lot of people don't like me, and that's all right. I did get word that one of the Jackson police officers said I would be better off dead. And it really doesn't bother me because I expect a lot worse. I'm prepared to defend liberty with my life, and a lot of people have given up their lives in the past, and I intend to defend that, and comments like that are nothing new, because it's happened to people that have set out to preserve liberty in the past. I'd like to help achieve accountability with regards to the rule of law. Rule of law has basically been tossed out the door, especially the past 50 years in this country, including on local levels as well. I'm not going to go into detail about the issues regarding the Karen Dunnigan issues when I was a candidate for mayor, but I can tell you I am pursuing criminal charges against Amanda Riska, the county clerk, and the city clerk, Lynn Fossil, at this time. And I'm sure more details will be coming out, but the law was broken, and I would like to see prosecution of some of these individuals. Karen Dunnigan broke the law, and the Republican special prosecutor in Eaton County looked the other way with regards to the law. Again, I don't want to, I would like to help educate, and hopefully, the activist I am, hopefully I can help you guys understand the critical nature of where our country sits right now. And the whole issue of the Karen Dunnigan case, I don't care about it. You know what, the people of Jackson don't want me, that's fine. My issue is the rule of law was overlooked. And that's the rule of law, the lack of rule of law is breaking down this country right now. And I care about too many of the people that have given up their lives to preserve liberty in this country. I'd like to leave my cell phone number if anybody wants to call and chew me out. It's area code 517-581-1757. Again, that's 517-581-1757. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comment is now closed. We have no special meetings of standing committees. We've arrived at the minutes of the March 19th, 2013 meeting.
Move approval.
I have a motion from Commissioner Plowchek, support from Commissioner Rice. Any items to be corrected or deleted? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes? Opposed? Duly carried. We've now arrived at the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion from Commissioner Duckham, support from Commissioner Lechka. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Commissioner Elwell.
Item 10A under Human Services, Mr. Chairman.
That will become item 14A on the agenda. Any other items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner?
I would ask that on the consent agenda, 11A, Personnel and Finance, Human Resources.
Okay. That will become item 15. 15B. I made a mistake. I know, that would be 17B. I made a mistake. Yes. Yes. The item on the GIS committee would be item 17B. The 15 would go to Personnel and Finance. Just so if you're keeping track of your program. Yes, we'll be. Any other items, Commissioners? We'll be using board docs to vote. The consent agenda passed unanimously. We've now arrived at standing committee. First committee to report is Affairs and Agencies. Commissioner Elwell.
Chairman, we have a number of appointments tonight. The first one is to the Region 2 Area Agency on Aging public member. The committee recommendation is Lauren Greenwich.
Any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell.
Second appointment to the same board, commissioner member, committee recommendation is Commissioner Carl Rice.
Any nominations from the floor? All in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell.
County Planning Commission, the county commissioner recommendation is Commissioner Carl Rice.
Any nominations from the floor? All in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell?
County Planning Commission, citizen at large slot. The committee recommends Nancy Hawley.
Any nominations from the floor? Seeing nor hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell?
Just to drop back for a second, that would have been for a term expiring in April of 2014, as is the next citizen at large appointment expiring the same time. Committee recommends Jennifer Morris Cole.
Any nominations from the floor? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried.
Another citizen at large appointment, same expiration date on the term. Committee recommends Ted Beals.
Any nominations from the floor?
Nominate John Wilson.
Any other nominations from the floor? Beals versus Wilson. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Leitner?
Beals.
Commissioner Lechka? Commissioner Rice? Commissioner Duckham? Commissioner Alexander?
Wilson.
Commissioner Mahoney, or excuse me, Commissioner Placzek? Commissioner Elwell?
Beals.
Chairman Shotwell?
Beals.
5-3.
Beals 5-3. Commissioner Elwell.
Another citizen at large appointment expiring April of 2015. The committee recommends John Williams.
Any nominations from the floor? Seeing nor hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried.
An environmental rep appointee expiring April of 2015. Committee recommends Jack Ripstra.
Seeing no other qualified candidates, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried.
An agricultural rep expiring April of 2016. The committee recommends Jim Vitito.
Any nominations from the floor? Seeing nor hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell.
Educational rep expiring April of 2016. The committee recommends Thomas Cameron.
Any nominations from the floor? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell.
Lastly, an industrial and economic representative. The committee recommends Amy Torres to be a term expiring April of 2016.
Any nominations from the floor? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Elwell.
That's all the business for affairs and agencies, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I thank you very much. Standing Committee Human Services, chaired by Commissioner Alexander. Commissioner Alexander?
Having been removed from the consent agenda, we need to address the Health Department's initiation of fees for walk-in STD clinic services.
I'll support the motion.
We have a motion and support. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Elwell.
Just briefly, I appreciate the additional information we got through the administrator's office and from Steve and Mary. The one additional comment that I had or concern I had was the department taking picture ID from people that would come in for testing. My understanding is that that is going to be the practice. I'm satisfied with that. And that answers my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Commissioner Alexander.
We have no further business to bring before the board, sir.
Thank you. We're a little quicker than the electronics tonight, folks, so we have a pause in the program. Okay. Standing Committee of Personnel and Finance, chaired by Vice Chairman Phil Duckham. Commissioner Duckham.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have one business item tonight. That would be the recommendations for salaries of chief deputies.
We have a motion. Do we have support?
I would support it, and I assume that's for Proposal B.
That's correct. Any commissioner comments, thoughts? Commissioner Lechka.
Although I'm glad we're clearing this up, I'm going to vote no on B because I support item A, which is the $1,000 difference. That's the same thing I did in committee. I'm going to stay consistent.
Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Elwell.
I strongly support the 90%. I think it bears noting that there were discussion, I think, after Personnel and Finance last week, that this would allow, this proposal, I think actually A and B, would allow the chief deputies to not only, or mandate they be capped at no more than up to 90% of the elected official, but also allow them to get their regular raises the same as other staff. For instance, the 2% raise that we authorized, I think, in December or January would be eligible for that, as well as step and grade increases. And that's the intent of that policy, which I strongly support. Thank you.
Any other commissioner comments? We're going to use our electronic to vote. Motion carried 7-1. Commissioner Duckham?
No further business tonight, Mr. Chair.
At this time, we moved an item from the consent calendar to Standing Committee Personnel and Finance, Human Resources 2013 recommendation. The chair would entertain a motion. Have a motion from Commissioner Duckham. Any support? Discussion. Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Chair. The reason that I asked for this item to be pulled from the agenda is, first of all, making any amendments to bylaws in regards to retirement is a serious issue that we need to address. Although I do not serve on Personnel and Finance, I did attend that meeting, and I am not familiar with the issue that was addressed during public comment. If the chair would allow me to ask the question in the form of discussion, I would direct my question to either the chair of Personnel and Finance, the board chair, or administrator's office to ask this question. Can the change in the bylaws be held off until this dispute that was referenced is resolved? Or is this a matter that needs to be dealt with in a timely fashion? I guess I'm just looking for some more information and clarification. Thank you.
Administrator Overton.
Thank you. While it's true you can delay this action, but this action does not change any of the union contracts. This language is old standing language in contracts. It's been in there since the 90s, I believe it is, and this just codifies it in the pension ordinance. Yes, there's a grievance, but a grievance, regardless of how that's resolved, will not change the union contract. The union contract language is very clear. Interpretation, perhaps, but not the language itself.
Mr. Elwell.
Well, there wasn't any back and forth during public comment, as there shouldn't be, but easy to sense the frustration, and many times perception is reality. You know, the administrator may be right on it, but is there harm in waiting another month to at least have the commissioners think about it, talk about it? And that would be my inclination, is to put it off for a month. And I think I would so move to table it.
I would prefer a motion to postpone to time certain versus a table.
So moved. Support.
Okay, the motion is to postpone this decision to the Board of Commissioners meeting in, the regular Board of Commissioners meeting in May. Is everyone comfortable with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. Thank you, Commissioner Elwell. Thank you, Commissioner Duckham. And Commissioner Alexander. We have no unfinished business to come before the board. At this time, we have new business. Item 17A is the Leadership Academy. This is an endorsement of the application for Leadership Academy for Community Action Agency and the Center for Family Health with the assistance of the Jackson County Board of Commissioners. A motion to approve. Do I have support? I have support. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Duly carried. We now have item 17B at the request of the chair. We missed a committee when we were going through our appointments back in January, and Commissioner Elwell has duly volunteered to serve on the GIS committee. It's a committee of the GIS department, and I would ask that you accept the chairman's nomination of Commissioner Elwell.
Support.
Any nominations from the floor? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Duly carried. Thank you, Commissioner Elwell, for being willing to serve. We've now returned to public comment. If anyone would like to address the board under public comment, please do.
Thank you. During the commissioner comment section, hopefully Commissioner Shotwell, Chairman Shotwell, or Mr. Overton can address to the general public the current status of our two road commission personnel who have been loaned to Calhoun County. So far, nothing has been discussed from the board regarding this issue, and if I'm not mistaken, when the road commission was dissolved, anything dealing with the road commission was supposed to be a Board of Commissioner decision from that point forward. Well, according to Chairman Shotwell, during a radio interview with Mark Daly, you had mentioned to Mark that Mr. Overton and somebody from Calhoun County are good friends. And I was just wondering if that had any bearing on the decision to loan out our road commission personnel, Mr. Straub being one, and I'm not sure of who the other one is. Also, did our county administrator have the authority to do so without the consent of the Board of Commissioners, since it's the Board of Commissioners now who are to make the decisions regarding these matters? So it would be incumbent upon yourself, Chairman Shotwell, or Mr. Overton, if you could explain a little bit more in detail this loan that you've given Calhoun County regarding these two personnel from our county, okay? There's dollars and cents involved here. There's my tax dollars involved here. So I want to know, okay? One of the reasons, again, that the road commission was dissolved was because of a lack of accountability and a lack of transparency. Well, thus far, we haven't received any of it since the Board of Commissioners have taken it over. I don't know if they've given you, individual approval for this loan or not. So, again, maybe Mr. Overton can address this, and if not, Chairman Shotwell can address it. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Scott Ogney, one more time. I just wanted to extend my services, no cost, to each commissioner in your districts. I do teach the Constitution for free. I have a multimedia projector if you want to invite friends, family, learn about not only the Constitution, the laws, but the moral intent of the laws. Every law that is passed by any jurisdiction, there's a moral intent to the laws. And right now, primarily the federal courts are destroying that moral intent and are essentially vaporizing the U.S. Constitution and our constitutional liberty. I'm offering my services to any county commissioner. If you have people in your districts that would like to learn more about the Constitution and its moral intent, I'm more than happy to come out there and teach the Constitution. In addition, the next time I appear before you, I will talk to you about the Danbury letter, if anybody is familiar with it. It was a letter written by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptists in Danbury, Connecticut, with regards to religious liberty and how words from Thomas Jefferson, specifically separation of church and state, have been misconstrued by federal judges through the years and now are being used to assault primarily Christianity in this country, to destroy the moral structure. And that is not what the law was intended to do, and I will explain it in detail, and hopefully I'll have photocopies of that Danbury letter for all the county commissioners at that time. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Public comments now ended. Commissioner comments. Seeing no commissioner comments, we have no closed session. We are adjourned.